Hello and welcome! When I was a kid, we used to rent videos from the video store as a treat. And on occasion, my mother would feel generous and let us actually rent a video game. Some of the times, the video games were absolute garbage, like the Terminator PlayStation 2 game. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2, but I remember it was a Terminator game and it was garbage. Other times, they were so amazing that the next time my brother and I hit an EB Games, we bought it. Thank you, Kat, for showing me this one. And one or two times there was this game where it was good, but I felt complete just playing it as a rental. One of these games were Rugrats Search for Reptar. I remember the game fondly, I remember enjoying it, but I had no real need to actually get it until a few years ago when I saw it for cheap. So I picked it up and we're going to take a look at it today. Check out Robotopede from us at 16-Bit Games. It has classic arcade action and is available for free on Android and iOS. Check it out today.
Oh, I wish I had my glasses.
Rugrats Search for Reptar is a level-focused 3D platformer based on the popular TV series of the same name, Rugrats. Everyone's here from Tommy to Chucky to Phil and Lil and Angelica. The adults show up on occasion, but they're not relevant. The game itself is a simple 3D platformer. And keyword on simple. There's no instant death, no bottomless pits, and no real enemies, except this walking piece of nightmare. Platforming is simple, and when you need to do some puzzle solving, sometimes literally, it is extraordinarily easy. It's almost as if this game was designed for kids. Rugrats controls extraordinarily well. With the camera that they chose, I would have expected the game would have used tank controls, but instead it uses more of a free-flowing control system like Crash or Spyro. Unfortunately, the camera feels like it was ripped right out of a racing game. It's a little bit slow, so you have to wait for it to catch up, but overall, it's usually never a problem since you can easily reset the camera to be immediately behind Tommy most of the time, so it's not an issue to go and play this game. The game isn't just a walking simulator. Sometimes you're walking on the roof, which is different. Sometimes you're walking as the dog, or maybe you're riding the dog, which realistically you're thinking about it, it's still walking. Give me a moment. Oh yes, there's a time after you ride the dog that you're throwing pucks at a geese, and you can hit Chucky by accident. There's that. Oh, there's that time where you're Angelica and you're floating in space. Oh god, that was a horrible section. The controls were just broken. The camera just was not able to cooperate. Whoever thought that was a good idea really should have thought about that through at least a little bit better. Realistically, the only other thing that you can actually do in this game that's not the run around with an object and mash buttons minigame that they did twice is the mini golf, which is a surprisingly good mini golf minigame, although Chucky really needs to learn how to hold his club. The aesthetics for Search for Reptar is astonishing, especially for a PlayStation game. The characters come surprisingly close to their television show counterparts. The environments are bright, lush, and colorful, and beautiful, considering the age. And the hub world, the Pickles house, they were able to recycle this one location multiple times, and it didn't feel stale, which is astonishing since, well, I'm literally walking around the same house over and over and over again. Yes, the game does have a story. There's a missing puzzle, and you're trying to go and find all the missing pieces by doing arbitrary things like finding Grandpa's teeth, going to sleep, fighting a bunch of these horrible things, etc. Realistically, you're just completing a level, and your reward is a puzzle piece which you put onto the board, and then the game ends. The levels are where the story is at, and each level is supposed to be based off of an episode of the cartoon. The levels in Search for Reptar are fine. They're not the best levels, they're very simple, not a lot of challenge thrown in, and it is designed specifically so that if you can hold a controller in your hand, you'll be able to play through most of the game. There is no difficulty, essentially, even though the game says that there are some harder levels. The issue that I have with the levels in this game, though, is that you don't actually need to play through all of them to beat the game. You only need enough to complete the puzzle, and once you do, you get one additional level, and then the credits roll. That last level is freaking amazing because you're Reptar destroying a city until he does dance. But, yeah. You don't play all the levels to beat the game, which is a little bit odd, since if you want to experience the whole game, you'd have to replay it. It's really good if, let's say, you're renting it, but for me, I really like these levels, and I want to keep playing them. It's a shame that you have to replay a few of them just to unlock the last few levels, which, I mean, were okay. So, yeah. The music in Search for Reptar is what ties the entire game together. The game has the same story as the show, it has the looks of the show, and it has the sound from the show. And these aren't taken from the show like the story. It's actually original compositions, designed specifically for this game, designed to be looped, designed to be heard continuously. And they did a phenomenal job. It sounds odd, it sounds weird, it's simple, and yet it works so well. It could be ominous, it could be awe-inspiring, it is just fantastic. If you're a fan of the Rugrats, take a listen to the soundtrack, because it is beautiful. In both sight and sound, Rugrats Search for Reptar is amazing. But when it comes to the gameplay, it stumbles. The levels are okay and very repetitive. The gameplay is simplistic and too easy. And when it comes to it, it's fun once. But when you have to replay it again, it becomes annoying. If you're looking for a good game, it's here, but there are better offerings. If you're looking for a Rugrats game, you can't beat it. So, if you're looking for a Rugrats game, it's definitely worth it. But if you're looking for a good game, there are better and cheaper options out there.